Marcus seems like he's got a pretty good deal. Like if he's out, he's like, "Oh, Derek, just do both." I can't turn around and tell him to do the same thing. like Marcus, just cover me this week and then cover me again next week. I'm just joking. He can play guitar a little bit. So let's start off with this clip.
Can I ask you a personal question?
Oh. No one has ever asked me a personal question.
Your antenna, what are they for?
Their purpose?
Yes, Quill and I have a bet.
You're not supposed to say that.
I say that if you are about to go through a doorway that's too low, your antenna will feel this and keep you from being decapitated.
Right, and if it's anything other than you specifically not being decapitated by a doorway, I win.
They are not for feeling doorways.
Oh.
I think they have something to do with my empathic abilities.
What are those?
If I touch someone, I can feel their feelings.
You read minds?
No. Telepaths know thoughts. Empaths feel feelings. Emotions. May I?
All right.
You feel love.
Yeah, I guess, I feel a general unselfish love for just about everybody.
No. Romantic. Sexual love.
No, I don't.
For her.
No, that is not... Okay.
That's she just told everyone your deepest, darkest secret.
Dude, I think you're overreacting a little
You
bit.
must be so embarrassed. Do me.
Never met that shit.
Oh my God.
So unbelievable. Cool.
Touch me, and the only thing you're gonna feel is a broken jaw.
You get it? I feel a sense of lostness in the midst of it. If Marcus was here, he would understand. He loves these Marvel movies. So the scene, like those, who's seen Guardians of the Galaxy? We have 5 people who have seen that movie. So they have this one creature in the middle. Her name is Manta? I can't remember. But she can feel people's feelings. And so, the whole process, she touches Quinn and like, no, don't read what's there. And then Dax, who's the big, dumb, strong guy, he's like, do me. And then Gamora, notice what she does at the end. She's like, don't you dare touch me. Don't you dare read what I'm feeling. So the question is, how would you feel if someone could read your emotions or read your thoughts that were around you? Would that feel safe, or would you feel exposed? Would you feel very vulnerable if there's, if you had this, or if you had this ability to read someone's mind, I'll know what everyone's thinking in the room. Would that be something that is special or something that could torment you? Right? What do you think? I mean, if you could just speak back to me, that's great. It feels like it would be a curse. In moments, it feels like it would be helpful. In other moments, you're like, oh no, I can't believe these people think that about me. Or I would feel like, please don't know these things. How many have ever felt like if they just knew what I was really thinking, they would never let me stand up here and speak. If they knew what was really going on inside, there's a lot of times that's called an imposter syndrome, right? I'm not good enough to do something. If you really knew what was going on. So what have I learned as a good Christian boy? I have learned that it's really good to hide things because other people will judge you And if they judge you, then you can't do the cool things like speak in front of people. Now, is that a good lesson? Probably not. But it's a true lesson. It's something that I've picked up by growing. I grew up in the church from the time I was just a little baby. My first Sunday, my mom held me up in the church. I did the same thing to Naomi. I held her up her first Sunday, like Mufasa. And can you turn this down? I feel like it's so loud. Is it loud? It's not? All right. And I look back and go, I think that's really sad that one of the lessons that I've learned is I've become really good at hiding things. And it's not just hiding things from other people. It's hiding things from myself. Like, I don't even know sometimes what I really feel about something, because sometimes shame can come by certain feelings that come up. And I don't even sometimes know what I really feel about God because of shame and not wanting even God to know what I think. And I know that sounds funny, but I would imagine that some of you have experienced that as well. And we're going to look at a passage this morning that could sound really scary or really wonderful all at the same time. The idea that God actually knows everything. Everything. All those little hidden thoughts, all the wishes, all the desires, things that are holy, things that are so unholy and ugly. God knows everything. Everything. So we're going to look at Psalm 139. And this is one of my favorite passages in the Bible. And so I'm going to read it through and then do a little discussion on it. So let's just do it. Psalm 139, it says, "You have searched me, Lord, and you know me. You know when I sit and when I rise. You perceive my thoughts from afar. You discern my going out and my lying down. You are familiar with all my ways. Before a word is on my tongue, you, Lord, know it completely. You hem me in behind and before, and you lay your hand upon me. Such knowledge is too wonderful for me, too lofty for me to attain. Where can I go from your spirit? Where can I flee from your presence? If I go up to the heavens, you are there. And if I make my bed in the depths, you are there. If I rise on the wings of the dawn, or I settle on the far side of the sea, even there your hand will guide me, your right hand will hold me fast. If I say, surely this darkness will hide me, and the light become night around me, even the darkness will not be dark to you. The night will shine like the day, for darkness is as light to you. You created my inmost beings. You knit me together in my mother's womb. I praise you because I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Your works are wonderful, and I know that full well. My frame was not hidden from you when I was made in the secret place, when I was woven together in the depths of the earth. Your eyes saw my unformed body. All the days ordained for me were written in your book before one of them came to be. How precious to me are your thoughts, God. How vast is the sum of them. Were I to count them, they would outnumber the grains of sand. When I awake, I'm still with you. If only you, God, would slay the wicked. Away from me, you who are bloodthirsty. They speak of you with evil intent. Your adversaries misuse your name. Do I not hate those who hate you, Lord, and abhor those who are in rebellion against you? I have nothing but hatred for them, and I count them my enemies. Search me, God, and know my heart. Test me and know my anxious thoughts. See if there is any offensive way in me. Lead me in the way everlasting. Amen. I think this passage is absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing. And I don't know if you've noticed, it's like these beautiful prose of how wonderful God is, and God knows us so deeply, and it just makes such a beautiful song. And then he makes this weird turn. Like, oh, I hate all these other people. God, destroy them. Oh, but then search me and know me. See if there's any way in me that's not like you. Like, oh, wow. Okay, that's cool. That part ruins the song. Like, I can't put that in a song. And yet, I think it's one of the most beautiful parts of the actual chapter. And I'll tell you why shortly. Let's reflect on what David is saying here. He starts off by saying, "Search me, Lord." And you it's not search me. He doesn't actually ask God to search him. It says, "You have searched me and you know me." You have already done this. Like, you have already seen everything. You know all of these things. You know when I sit and when I rise. You perceive my thoughts from afar. I think we made the mistake in our culture. We have a song about Santa Claus, about being like this. He sees you when you're sleeping. He knows when. I was like, that's really creepy that Santa would know that. So it could even feel that way. Like, is that creepy? That God sees all of that? That God knows all of this? You discern my going out and my lying down. You're familiar with all my ways. Before a word is on my tongue, you know it completely, so why should I say anything? You hem me in behind and before. You lay your hand upon me. But then he says, it's so wonderful. It's absolutely wonderful that you know all this stuff. It's like, oh, well, maybe it's not creepy at all. God knows everything about us. I love this use. There's a poetic term called merism that David is using. And it's a poetic technique where you, instead of saying something that's using the word like every or all, like God knows everything. That could have been all it was. God knows everything. The technique is you use the extremes of each other to portray the point in a beautiful, poetic way. A poetic technique that expresses a totality by mentioning two parts, typically polar opposites. They said it better than me. They're meant to replace more abstract concepts like all or every. So we know there are verses. Will you put that next verse on? So this is one example. Psalm 103. He has removed our sins as far as the east is from the west. So he's removed all our sin, is one way to say it. But the imagery of he's removed our sins as far as the east from the west, they never touch. And that it shows the expanse. It's this poetic. There's a phrase by C.S. Lewis where he says, he's talking about poetry, and the idea of giving information is like two people having a ball and passing it from one to another, just handing it. But poetry is like backing up and throwing and catching. And then he goes, which one is more fun? And I loved that idea, that there's so much more that I can feel from a passage like this than God just simply saying, I take away all your sins. And in some ways, it's like, it's using word for word's sake. It's using poetry for poetry's sake. And I love that the Bible does this. I love that it's artistic and it's poetic. We do this in our culture all the time. If I think of like wedding ceremonies, or like till death do us part, as opposed to saying like, I'll commit to you forever. Or here, let's put that list up. That's a biblical one. You're flesh of my flesh and bone of my bone. which, like Naomi, you are flesh of my flesh and bone of my bone. Or you're my little girl. And not just I love you, but I love you from head to toe. I will love you in life and death, for better or worse, for richer or poorer, in sickness and in health. These merisms, these opposites of one another. So he continues, where can I go from your spirit? Where can I flee from your presence? If I go to the heavens, you are there, and if I make my bed in the depths, you are there, the opposites. If I rise on the wings of the dawn or settle on the far side of the sea, that's kind of like saying the same as east to west. Even there, your hand will guide me, your right hand will hold me fast. If I say, surely the darkness will hide me, and the light become night around me, even the darkness will not be dark to you. The night will shine like the day, for darkness is as light to you. The contrast of darkness and light. He could have just said, God is everywhere all the time. That would have been the whole chapter. God is everywhere all the time. But he doesn't. He doesn't. I think he wants us to feel it. He wants us to experience this vastness and this beauty of God that's like here. So what do we learn about God? We did this last week. What do we learn about God? What do we learn about people? What are we supposed to do? So what do we learn about God in the midst of this? So a few years ago, I was, as many of you know, I walked the Camino de Santiago with Marcus, and on that process, I was dealing with my own emotions of losing a sister-in-law to cancer, and I don't know if I had really allowed myself to feel all the feelings with it. You know, grief is this fascinating thing. It can come up and sneak up on you in times. You can try to ignore it, but if you ignore it long enough, it might, I say, leak out in other ways. And I don't think I even allowed myself to feel everything that I wanted to feel or that I did feel. But while walking on the Camino, you have hours of just walking. And in those hours, you get the space to think and the space to pray and the space to be present with your emotion. I could have really used Mantis there to touch me and tell me what I was feeling. That would have been helpful for her to give me words. But I began the process of praying, God, what do I do with all of this stuff? What do I do with the fact that my sister-in-law, who felt like the pastor to our community, who was in the prime of her life, she had so much connection and so much love and so much leadership and guidance and care, and she's gone. Like, what am I supposed to do with that? Like, and what I kept feeling, God, the invitation is to actually go into this darkness. Like to sit in this space of feeling dark and not knowing the answer. So I said, okay, fine. I'll do that. But some other stuff might come out if I stay here too long. And I felt like God saying, that's okay. Let it happen. So I'm sitting, I'm walking, and it's gorgeous. Like everything's gorgeous, but I'm in like a dark place as I'm walking. And I start asking the question that's hardly ever helpful. Why? Why, God, did you do this? Why did this happen? And not only that, why is it that like there are people around the world who are suffering? Why is it that there are kids that are born into situations that they can't help? They're born into situations of war. They're born in places they can't help that they're Palestinian. They can't help that they're Ukrainian. They can't have the ability to go to school. I can't remember ever missing a meal that wasn't intentional, right? And I'm dealing with this kind of confusion, like, God, what about them? And then what about these people that I sing for that have lost their mind, and yet they have not lost their life? And they're sitting in a state where they can't even like remember their kids' faces. And when I come in, I'm new every week. What about them? And then there are cruel moments where it feels like they remember that they forget. And they begin to cry. And I'm like, what about those moments? And I begin to get angry as I'm walking. And it felt like God was saying, all right, is that all you got? Is that it? And I can't remember if I kept going or not. I might have. And I remember getting to a point of going, okay, God, what now? And as I'm walking, this verse pops into my head. What we had just read in verse 11. It says, if I say, surely the darkness will hide me and the light become night around me, even the darkness will not be dark to you, and the night will shine like the day, for darkness is as light to you. And what stuck out to me, I think I had always heard that verse as an idea that the darkness becomes light, but it doesn't say that. It says, even the darkness will not be dark to you, for the night will shine like the day, for darkness is as light to you. And I thought, oh, that means the darkness actually doesn't go away. But God is in the midst of it and can see things that I don't see. And if God is with me in the darkness, then it's okay for me to stay. And I don't have to be afraid. Because this says God is with me. I can't hide. If I can't hide from God, then that means I can sit in the darkness and all of my ugliness that I feel, all of the things that I've tried to hide, all the anger that I've had towards God and not even realize it and have been too ashamed to even talk about it, that I can sit in that darkness. And it's not, and God is fully present in the midst of it. Not despite it, but God is present in it. And I began to weep. And I realized later like God was there. And I realized later in what I was reflecting on it, I'm like, he didn't answer any of my questions. None of them. And it didn't matter. Because God was there. And he said, Derek, I'm with you. And that was it. Derek, I'm with you. And for me, it was enough. It was absolutely enough. In the midst, like the grief and the pain were still there, but it was in the midst of joy and peace, all at the same time, just wrapped together. And then it was the same idea, Derek, I am with you, and I am also with them. With those kids that are in places that they can't help. We're people who end up in places that they never dreamed possible that their life could be in, or as low as their life could go. Derek, I'm with them too. And I don't understand how all of that happens, but in that moment, I felt in my heart, I believe that that's absolutely true. That if this God is so good that he comes close, and he's come close to me in my darkness, that means he comes close to everyone. To everyone. It has to be. It has to be. When I was a kid, really young, I remember my dad, we would wrestle, right? And he would stand in front of me and he would say, punch me as hard as you can in my stomach. And, are you sure, Dad? Oh yeah, do sorry, but be careful. Don't hurt yourself. And so I'd go, okay, fine. Ah, poof. And he would laugh. And I would go, my dad is the strongest person in the whole world. I think God can stand in front of us and say, swing as hard as you can. Hit me with everything you have. And please don't hold back. I can take it. I can take it. I think sometimes I get worried. Maybe God can't handle it. God can't handle my own fears or my own worries or my own anger. Or worse yet, I might get abandoned in the process. God might look at me and say, oh yeah, I knew that was in your heart. Ha ha ha. And the fear of someone saying, oh, that's really what you're feeling. Ah, everyone knows you must be embarrassed. Like that can be the image. In 15, it says, my frame is not hidden from you. When I was made in the secret place, when I was woven together in the depths of the earth. God knows everything. And yet, I still find myself hiding. And then David says, if only you, God, would slay the wicked. Away from me, you who are bloodthirsty. They speak of you with an evil intent. Your adversaries misuse your name. Do I not hate those who hate you, Lord? And abhor those who are in rebellion against you. I have nothing but hatred for them. I count them my enemies. I look at this, and David is standing before God, and God says, hit me with your hardest. Tell me what's really on your heart and really on your mind. Tell me how you really feel about those people who have misused you. Tell me about how you really feel about the people who are coming against you and you feel like it's unjust. Why don't you tell me about the injustice that you see in the world and how it's unfair? Tell me about the privilege that's not there. Tell me about people taking advantage of other people. Tell me about it. Give me your worst. Tell me even how it's my fault. Like, go ahead. Give me everything. Give me everything. This is a lesson that I'm still trying to learn. Can I really be this honest with God? Can I be this honest with God? Am I afraid to let God see my real heart in the midst of it? And I think in the moment while walking the Camino, I had that where I said, fine, I'll tell you everything. And it came from a place of deep grief. And I see that in times that I still try to hold myself together before God and say, I don't want you to see this part of me. I don't want you to know that sometimes I think you don't exist. Which sounds really funny. I pray to God and tell him, I don't think you exist sometimes. And God's fine, give it to me. Give it to me. And you could probably fill in the blank, and I know you, like everything that you think, like, this is what's unjust. This is what's unfair. This is what I don't like. This is what I see in the world happening, and it makes me angry. It makes me so angry I could cuss. God said, give it to me. Go ahead. Cuss me out. Whatever you can do, like, give it to me. And he's like, I can take it. I mean, just to be clear, I'm not actually speaking like saying you should go to other people and do this to them. Like, I am talking about your feelings, that you feel true inside to God. I mean, Jesus is really clear how we're supposed to treat other people. In Luke 6, he says, like David's saying, I hate these people who curse you. Like, do away with them. Jesus in Luke, he says, bless those who curse you. Pray for those who abuse you. To one who strikes you on the cheek, offer the other also. And from one who takes away your cloak, do not withhold your tunic. Give to everyone who begs from you, and from one who takes away your goods, do not demand them back. Jesus is talking about actions there. Like, this is how you're supposed to act. This is how you're, what I'm speaking of is these emotions that are inside of us that we try to hide, that make us feel shame. And so, I think David kind of gets it too, because he goes on in his final verse, the final verses in this chapter, 23 and 24, it says, "Search me, God, and know my heart. Test me and know my anxious thoughts. See if there is any offensive way in me, and lead me in the way everlasting." God, you see all of this stuff inside of me, even the ugly parts that I want all these people destroyed. So I'm inviting you once again to search me and see if any of that is actually not a part of you. He says, "Search me, God, and know my heart." If you remember how the chapter started, in verse 1, if you put verse 1 back up there, it's the next slide. It says, "You have searched me, Lord, and you know me." He starts off with the idea that God has searched him, and in the very end, at the end, he says, "God, go ahead and search me. You've already done it. Now do it." Like, why would he say that twice? That God has already done it. The only way I can think of is it's a posture of surrender. God, you already know everything. Man, I keep on hiding. I don't want to hide. So go ahead. I surrender to the process of you knowing everything. I surrender everything. And I think that is so powerful. You know, when there's a moment where Jesus is with the man and saying, like, if you can heal my son, heal him. And he's like, if. It's like, okay, I know I don't believe, but help my unbelief. I think that's that kind of prayer. And Jesus said, okay, fine, I see your heart now. I can do something with that. You showed me your doubt, and you're still saying, search me. I think that's what God is calling us to do. If God knows everything about us, from when we rise and when we sit, if we run to the far side of the sea, he knows everything. He knows everything. So why do I keep hiding? I want to be like David and say, search me, O God. Know everything about me. Know everything about me, all the ugly places, the things that I feel towards other people, the judgments that I make, the way I even feel about you. I don't want to hide any of it. I want to be honest before God. So what are you afraid of? What are you afraid of God knowing? What are you afraid that if you actually go down this path, everything might be lost? God is always with us, always with us. And if we stay in a posture of, God, search me and know me, he says, I won't let you fall. I won't. I will be here. I will be here with you. So God, thank you for your presence and thank you for knowing us so deeply. May we be people who allow you to know us and we don't hide. We don't let our shame separate us from you. We want to be with you. Amen.